These are some of the most feared soldiers in Russia, known as the Kadyrovtsi. They have become infamous for their brutality, kidnapping, torturing, and eliminating anyone deemed a threat to their leader, Ramzan Kadyrov. But who is Kadyrov, and how has he managed to extend his power beyond politics, beyond fear, into a realm that not only commands respect, but also inspires global recognition? His secret weapon isn't just a private army. It's the world of mixed martial arts. Ramzan Kadyrov is the dictator of Chechnya, a small semi-autonomous republic in southern Russia. For years, his name has been synonymous with terror, loyalty to Vladimir Putin, and the ruthless suppression of dissent. But over the last decade, Kadyrov has added another title to his name, the architect of an MMA empire. Behind the glitz and glamour of the sport lies a darker truth, a machine designed to reshape Chechen culture, solidify his grip on power, and build an army of warriors loyal to him, and by extension, to Putin. To understand how this seemingly bizarre connection between MMA and militarization came to be, we must delve into the history of Chechnya, a history soaked in blood, resistance, and survival. Chechnya has long been a land defined by its warrior spirit. Nestled in the rugged mountains of the Caucasus, its people have spent centuries resisting Russian domination. The region's culture is steeped in traditions of bravery and independence, forged in countless battles against larger, better-equipped forces. This resistance continued well into the modern era. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Chechnya's dream of independence seemed within reach. But that dream was short-lived. The 1990s saw two brutal wars between Chechen separatists and the Russian military. Ramzan Kadyrov's father, Akhmat Kadyrov, was initially a leading figure in the fight for Chechen independence. He commanded a militia that successfully repelled Russian forces during the First Chechen War. But by the time the Second Chechen War erupted in 1999, Akhmat had changed sides. He opposed the growing influence of extremist fundamentalist factions within the Chechen resistance and struck a deal with Moscow. In exchange for his loyalty, Russia installed him as the leader of Chechnya, making him Putin's man in the region. Akhmat's reign was short-lived. In 2004, a bomb planted by Chechen insurgents ended his life. His son, Ramzan Kadyrov, inherited his father's mantle. Backed by billions of rubles from Moscow, Ramzan rebuilt Chechnya's war-ravaged capital, Grozny, transforming it into a gleaming symbol of his power. But his rule came with a price: absolute loyalty to Putin and absolute control over his people. To enforce his rule, Kadyrov created the Kadyrovtsi, a paramilitary force that acted as both his personal army and his instrument of fear. For years, the Kadyrovtsi terrorized Chechnya, silencing dissent through violence and intimidation. But by the mid-2000s teens, Kadyrov's ambitions began to evolve. He no longer sought merely to control Chechnya. He wanted to reshape its culture. He turned to a seemingly unlikely ally: mixed martial arts. MMA, a sport that combines elements of wrestling, kickboxing, and jiu-jitsu, has roots in the warrior traditions of the Caucasus. Wrestling in particular has been a cornerstone of the region's identity for centuries. But MMA offered something new, a modern, global platform to showcase strength and dominance. Kadyrov saw in MMA an opportunity to replace the image of the traditional Chechen warrior with something more aligned with his vision. A new generation of fighters loyal not to the idea of independence, but to him. In 2015, Kadyrov founded Fight Club Akhmat, named after his father. The gym quickly became a symbol of Chechen pride, attracting thousands of young men eager to prove themselves. But this wasn't just about sport. It was about control. Kadyrov personally funded the training of these fighters, rewarding the most talented with luxury cars, homes, and even arranged marriages. He positioned himself as a patron, a father figure who could transform their lives. For these young men, loyalty to Kadyrov wasn't optional. It was the price of admission. Fighters who excelled at Fight Club Akhmat didn't just represent Chechnya in the cage. They became symbols of Kadyrov's power. Some even made it to the pinnacle of MMA, the UFC. Fighters like Khamzat Chimaev, a Chechen-born superstar, became household names, celebrated not only for their skills, but also for their ties to Kadyrov. The message was clear. If you fought for Kadyrov, he would change your life. But if you defied him, the consequences were dire. What began as a way to promote Chechen pride soon took on a darker purpose. Fight Club Akhmat became more than just a gym. It became a recruitment center for Kadyrov's militia. Fighters who didn't make it to the global stage found themselves funneled into the Kadyrovtsi, where their training in combat sports was put to use on the battlefield. These men were not just athletes. They were soldiers, ready to enforce Kadyrov's will at home and abroad. In Ukraine, the Kadyrovtsi have been accused of committing some of the war's most heinous atrocities. From the siege of Mariupol to the massacres in Bucha, their presence has been felt and feared. One unit, led by Abu Zaid Vizmuradov, a top commander and the head of Fight Club Akhmat, has been implicated in numerous war crimes. Fighters from the club have been deployed not just as soldiers, but as symbols of Chechnya's might and Kadyrov's influence. The ties between MMA and Kadyrov's regime have drawn international condemnation. In 2017, the United States imposed sanctions on Kadyrov, banning its citizens from doing business with him, the Kadyrovtsi, or Fight Club Akhmat. Yet fighters linked to Kadyrov continue to compete in international events, often with his explicit support. Critics argue that this allows Kadyrov to exploit the sport for propaganda and recruitment, tarnishing MMA's reputation on the global stage. Kadyrov's use of MMA is more than just sports washing. It's a blueprint for weaponizing culture. By turning a sport into a tool for militarization, he has created a model that other authoritarian leaders are watching closely. This isn't just about Chechnya or even Russia. It's about the dangerous intersection of power, propaganda, and violence. The story of Ramzan Kadyrov and MMA is a chilling reminder of how power can manifest in unexpected ways. A sport that was once a symbol of discipline and competition has been transformed into a weapon of war. As Kadyrov's influence grows, the world must confront a disturbing reality. The arena is no longer just a place for fights. It's a battlefield where the future of nations is being decided. This is Al-Mukhbir, uncovering the hidden stories that shape our world.